Hello sewist, we'll be making this shift dress with the black fabric at the center front going all the way to the hem, and the no taping of the hem with the black material. And also we will not be doing the button placement. Without further ado, let's dive in. So this is the Ankara material we're going to work with. This and a hot print, African print. And to that I will divide them into two, making sure that the right side is inside and I have the wrong side of the fabric outward. You'll be cutting directly on the material. So to this I'm going to be placing my starting point line with a ruler. I just mark my starting point line. Then we're going to be getting our neck width and neck depth. I'm using a neck width of 3.5. This is for someone that is a little bit plus size. I'm using 3.5, which after sewing it I'll be having it by 4 inches. Like I'm having the width by 4 inches. And because this is a V-shaped neckline, I'm going to leave the neck for now. We'll come back to that later. So we're going to be getting our shoulder measurement. The shoulder you got divided by 2. That's what we're going to be placing there. So as you see, I'm using 16.75 divided by 2. And what I got, I placed it. And to that I'm adding ½ inch for joining the shoulder to the to the sleeve later. So to that I'm going to be coming out for my shoulder depth, like by 1.5 inches. Came down by 1.5 inches, as you can see there. That's for my shoulder depth. And because I'm constantly on fabric, I went up by ½ inch. That's for joining the two shoulders together, the front and the back shoulders together. And I connected that to the 3.5 inches that we came up with. And I'm going to be getting my armhole depth. And to the armhole, I'm going to be using our bust measurement divided by 6 plus 2 inches. Whatever you get from that, your shoulder depth, I'm going to be placing it here. And I came down by ½ inch. Yeah, that's so where I placed my tape. I came down by ½ inch. And so I'm going to be extending that same shoulder length downward to get a straight line. And then back the ½ inch that I added at the top, and so that I'm going to connect. This is just to get a straight line. The same measurement at the top, you're also going to add under, and this is it. That's going to be our armhole. And so that I'm going to be placing my bust circumference measurement. Your bust divided by 4 inches, where you got there, I'm going to be placing it directly on that line. So I place what I have there, and this is it. And so this, I'm going to be adding our seam allowance. I'm using 1.5 inches sewing allowance. So I added my 1.5 inches sewing allowance. You can use 2 again. If I use 1 inch, depending on what works for you. So that I'm just trying to confirm my measurement. Now this is a shift dress, so it has freedom. So I'm using 1.5 inches for my seam allowance, and to that I'm going to be using 1.25. So first of all, I'm going to mark 1.25. This is going to be the ease to make the gown as free as this in the video. And then 1.25, and then I now marked 1.5. So I added 2 measurements to the bust divided by 4 inches. The first measurement is bust divided by 4. I put what I got there. The second measurement is 1.25 inches, which is going to be the freedom, and then 1.5 inches for our sewing allowance. You get what I'm saying, right? Okay, back to the armhole. So I marked the midpoint of my armhole, and so that I came in by ½ inch. And to this I'm going to connect our lines to get our armhole. You can come in by 0.5 inches or 0.75. You see what I did there? So I came in by 0.75, but 0.5 is also fine because it's a free dress. And then I'm going to connect my measurement, connect it to the shoulder tip, and then I'm going to curve it all the way to what you have there to get your armhole curve. So here I'm trying to make my master ruler to get to the points to give me the perfect cup, but it was not getting to the point. So I went back to using my free hand. So you can use your ruler for that. So I use my free hand to get it just the way I want it. You get. So I curved it and this is our armhole. So to continue with our horizontal measurements, I'm going to go forward to mark our half length. From your shoulder to your half length. Remember you're cutting this mat to the square, you're cutting directly on the fabric. So you're going to add 0.5 inches to the half length, and that 0.5 inches is half of an inch is for joining the shoulder, the front and back shoulders together. I hope you understand. If you have any question, do wait to drop in the comment section. I'll get to attend to you. So here we connected the point six. This is our half length or our waist length. So we're going to place in our waist measurement. Our waist divided by 4 inches. We're going to place it, and to that you're going to place 1.25 inches for ease, and then 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. You get that 1.5 inches is just like saying allowance. Yeah, that's allowance inside, and the 1.25 is for freedom to get the shift dress. Hope you're following. Yeah, so we're going to go over to letting our hip measurements. So from our half length, I'm going to get our hip placement, like the hip length. From there, I marked 8.5 inches for my hip length. That's where I'm going to be placing the hip circumference. Yes. And then from the half inch, I'm going to be placing the full length of my kimono or my shift dress. So here I'm placing the full length of my shift dress or kimono. So I'm marking it downwards, and I'm going to adjust my ruler to the other side, and I'm going to mark the full length as well. I'm just marking the full length, and to the full length I added 1.5 inches for the hemming allowance. I'm going to be seeing that later. I'm sorry I didn't show it here, but yeah, I can see what I'm doing. So I'm tilting my camera to show you what I have there. Then mark the full length, and to that I mark 1.5 inches for my hemming allowance, and that is it. So we're going to connect our lines together. So we'll be labeling our lines. So this is our HL, that's our hip line. Our WL, that's our waistline or our half length. And then FL, that's meaning full length. And that's 1.5 inches we added for the hemming. And to this, we're going to be placing our hip circumference measurement. So you're going to be dividing your hip by 4. To that, we're going to be placing our hip divided by 4. And we're then going to be placing 1.25 for the ease and 1.5 for our sewing allowance. At the same measurement we use for the hip circumference, that's what we're going to be using for the full length. It gave a curve, just have a little bit curve from the waist, and then from the waist to the hip, and all the way from the hip to the full length is going to be a straight line. Okay, so the same measurements I have for the hip, we take it back to the full length, and to that we're going to be connecting it with a straight line. So connect your hip to the full length, and then your hip to your waistline. So we'll not be cutting out what we have here. Remember, we have not traced out the neck depth, or we're doing that later. So we're going to be cutting this out. I'm going to be using this front pattern to cut out our back pattern.
So to cut out our back, I've also folded my material into two, making the wrong side be facing me. And to that, I'm going to be placing what we cut out for the back. I'm going to be placing the back part of the dress, the front part of the dress on top of the back. We're going to be using to cut it out. So I'm going to be pressing this a little bit to make it lay flat, because it's a little bit folded. Just make it lay flat for a neat cutting. And while placing the front part of the dress on the back to cut out the back, make sure you leave a space at the center back for the placement of the zipper. I left a space there. You see the space? That's the space. I left the space. As I'm going to be attaching my zipper or placing my zipper allowance for our zipper. So I extended my half length measurement so that to have a marking at the back there. And to that I'm going to be coming up. You know, our half length is 18 inches. That will be marked for our half length. You know, the half length of the back and the front are not the same. So I'm going to be coming up. I place my tape under 18 inches. I'm going to be coming up to place my half length measurement for the back. So what I'm using here is 16.75 is half length for the back that I'm using for this gown. So go to placing your half length, and that's what's going to help us in placing our zipper. This will help to avoid zip bulge at the back. So there, I'm going to be using that as a guide to place our zipper. So now to the center front, like up at the neckline, going to attaching our half inches. I'm using 1 inches for my zipper allowance. So I'm going to slant it to meet the center front point. You can see at that waist half length I didn't add 1 inch is there. I just slanted it directly to the shoulder, to the neck depth for my front. So I'm just trying to use my ruler to make the center front part to be visible, like to make the front part of the gown that I placed to cut out the back to be more visible. I'm trying to use my chalk to make it so that you know where the starting point of our center front is. So, and to that I'm going to be adding our 1 inch. So here at the waist I did not add 1 inches. I'm going to come back to the hip. I'm going to place in 1 inches again at the hip. Note I place 1 inches at the neck region and I place 1 inches at the hip. So we're going to connect this slanting again to the half length of our back. So this is it. You can see it has a curve. We gave that half length depth. So that when you place your zipper, it's going to go inside and then come out to accommodate the hip we get. I hope I'm explanatory enough. Any question, drop a comment, I shall get to answer you. So I went down. I also added 1 inches all the way to the hem. So from that hip line, I'm going to add 1 inches over all the way to the hem of the gown. So to this 1 inches I didn't add at the center back for the half length, I'm going to be placing it at the side. I'm going to place that 1 inches at the side there. You get. So while sewing your zipper by 1 inch, you will just take out that 1 inches while sewing without even knowing. You get. So that 1 inch is going to be taken out while sewing, attaching the zipper by the 1 inches. Note that I'll be placing it at the half length. So that's the 1 inches. I place the 1 inches there. This is going to be blending it to the hip and all the way up as well. So I extended my line to make that 1 inches I added. So I'm going to blend it to the tip and also to the hip line. So we'll be creating the armhole curve for our back gown. You know that for the inside, we for the front part we went in by 0.75 at the midpoint of our armhole curve. So but for the back, we're going to come out by 0.25. That means in essence, we went in by 0.5 inches for the back and 0.75 for the front to get. Because I cut this back, we just came out by 0.25. I mean, to took out 0.25 from 0.75 we went in for the front, making it 0.5 inches that we went in by for the back. Hope you are getting me. Yes, so we're going to be creating our armhole depth for the back. Just going to come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to connect it to the 3.5 inches that we mark. You know that we just mark 3.5 inches at the front, but we do not cut it out. Yeah, so I'm just trying to trace out that 3.5, and I'm going to cover out my neck depth. So this is our neck for the back. And then we're going to be cutting out what we have. Every other thing remains the same, apart from the neck depth, the armhole curve that we created newly, the zipper allowance, and the 1 inch it came out from by the side. So we're going to be cutting out. Every other thing remains the same, and then we're going to be redoing our front neckline after. So this is it for our back, and then I'm going to be notching my hem. At that 1.5 inches that we added for the hem, I'm going to be notching it at the side and then at the center back side. Like I said, not the center front though. I just know the center back and then the side. I don't know the center front. I lifted it up and then I notched my center back, and then the sides or the center of the front and the back. This is it. Our front and our back is ready, and then we're going to be doing our V-curved neckline. But first of all, let's cut out our lining. So this is my lining. I folded it into two. I'm going to be placing what we cut out on top of it, and I'm going to cut it exactly. So this is our back. This is the back piece. I'm going to be placing this, and I'm going to be cutting it out exactly. But the difference is going to be at the hem. When I added 1.5 inches for the hem of the material, like the Ankara or the African print. So for the hem of this, I'm going to add half of an inch, because I want to pull the hem, like that neat finishing the hem used to have. I'm going to see that when we get to the sewing table. Just follow what I'm doing. I hope this video is self-explanatory. It's explained well. If I have any questions, do job. If you have got to this point, do like, subscribe, share, and drop your comment in the comment section. I'll be there. Alright, let's continue. So I'm going to be tracing out our lining like so. So I lifted it up. I'm marking out what I need to cut out. Like I just trace it out. I either trace out another half of an inch, trace half of an inch. The other trace out half of an inch, making it 1 inch cut out and half inches allowance. Yeah, and to this we also cut out the front exactly at the same, taking out 1 inches from the hem. That means we have half inches extra allowance to the full length of the gown. And this is material I'm going to be using for the taping. Like I'm going to use placing material at the center front of the material. This is a crepe material, it's some a little bit stretchy. So I'm going to be placing this on top to make sure it like is the width I want. You can use your bust to bust measurements for this, or you can use this, you can place the width you prefer. So here I just traced out the neck region, like I just traced out the curve, the shoulder slope as well. Remember the main fabric, like the crepe material, is beneath. And to this we're going to be creating our neck, a v-shaped curve now. So from the tip I'm going to be coming down by the length I want it to be, so you can work as preferred or use the depth you want. So that's 7 inches. I came down by 7 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it straight first. I'm going to show you how to get a well relaxed V curved. I don't like sewing it just like this, just curved it and cut it out and sew. I like finding the midpoint of this line. I'll get the midpoint just as so. This is where I prefer working. It makes it relax very well at the neck without trying to shock you. And then to this I'm going to be going inward by half of an inch. So this half of an inch does a lot of justice to it, and I'm not going to slant it all the way to the tip and all the way to the neck region. You can see this is the perfect V curve we are going for. So I'm just going to blend out the rough, any pointy edge at that, and to this I'm going to be cutting it out.
Note that I'm cutting this together with the underlay, like the crepe material I have beneath. Yeah, you can see that's the crepe material and the lining as well. That's the African print, the lining, and the crepe material I'm going to be using for the center front. So onto this I'm going to be taking out the African print and the lining, so I can work on the crepe material, because that's what we need. We only needed the to get the neck depth for that. So I'm going to be placing the measurements I want my distance to be. Now this is on fold, like how I want the placement to be. So here I marked 3.5 inches here and half inches for folding the tip, making it 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches all the way to the hem. So I extended the 4 inches all the way to the shoulder, and I found out that it's looking small, like from that neck region is small, but based on how the thumbnail is wider from the shoulder, from the neck hole to where it stopped. So to this I added an extra 2 inches. I added extra, that's from the tip to there is 2 inches. Now I added extra 1.5 inches to the measurement. So I'm going to, that's the measurements extension, extra measurement I added. I'm going to be extending it all the way down. That's 2 inches now. And so from here I'm going to add back 2 inches. So in essence what we have there is 6 inches. We get. So what we have to the tip is 6 inches. So I'm going to extend that 6 inches all the way to the full length, because this black fabric, as I said earlier when analyzing the style at the beginning of the video, is going to go all the way to the hem, and they're not going to be hemming our gown with the black material as seen in the thumbnail, and there will be no button. So you just all the way to the hem, and then we're going to place it also at our sleeve while cutting our sleeve. But here we're still working on our gown, so I'm going to connecting my lines together. And then we'll be cutting it out. So this is what we'll be using for that design.
So this is it. So we're going to be hemming that. We're pressing it down by with our iron by half of an inch. We're going to be folding that. This material is a crepe material and it's a little bit stretchy. So I later added an interfacing to it. But this is what we have now. I added an interfacing to it, able to make it to stay at a place for me to sew on it, like make it stable. So this is our material. This is the African print. I'm going to be placing this right, like wrong side facing the right side. You get, so here, like the wrong side of the crepe material be facing the right side of the material of the kaplana of the African print. Sorry. If you're using a non-stretchy material, I can go ahead and just pin it down and sew as I'm doing. But for mine, I added an interfacing to it later. So as a guide, this is a tip to get the center front. You can see that crease line at my material, at my African print. I'm going to make sure that the to get the midpoint, so it will be in the center after sewing it. Make sure that my iron line, that the what I have from got from ironing it, is also directly on the crisp line on the African print as well. That will help you to make sure that after sewing it is at the center. So I'm going to be pinning it down all the way to the hem. We're going to go into a sewing machine to make it to be a one piece. Note, I took out my lining. This is just the African print I'm working on with my crepe material. Please do subscribe and join the community. You drop content every week, sometimes more than once a week, depending. But we drop contents every week. Do subscribe and join the community. You can also share with your friends. Drop your question or tell us if this video is helping in the comment section. Thank you. While pinning down, don't forget the neck region too. Make sure you pin your neck region as well. Just want to get it right all the way. So this is what I have after I've done sewing it down. I added my interfacing to. If you look at it, you can see a little bit of a whitish material showing at the hem and at the shoulder region. You can see that small white material showing there. That's the interfacing. So now we're going to be placing our lining. They're going to be placing right side facing each other, and to the neck region we're going to be sewing it by half of an inch. I'm going to sew half of an inch all the way. You can use your pin to hold that down as well if you want. And then we're going to come over to the hem. Know that we put this up by 1 inch, so you can see it's shorter. We're going to be sewing it also at the hem by half of an inch. We're going to pull it down. Make sure that it's equal with the fabric first. Sew it by half of an inch, and later I'm going to be pulling it up. I'm going to pull it up sharp. Okay, let's go back to our sewing machine. This is what I have. I have already sewn the neckline, so I'm going to be notching it. This tip is very important. Make sure you don't skip this. This makes your neckline relax. There's nothing more beautiful as having your neckline relax at your neck region. That makes your outfit beautiful and stand out. So I'm going to be notching it. So the more you notch it, like the neckline is seeing space to relax. You get that, the essence of the notch. You can either notch or you can trim it off, but make sure you don't cut through your thread. You get, make sure you don't cut it through. And after this notching, I'm going to be top stitching it. I'm going to see how to top stitch. Top stitch is all about pushing your allowance to the lining and sewing it close, like by 0.25 from the initial inches from the initial sewing that you have. That's what it means by top stitching. So I'm going to be top stitching this. I'm going to do that. I found out that I cut some my thread here. It's a place I cut my thread through. So I'm going to stitch it back before doing my top stitch. So in case you cut yours through by accident as well, make sure you stitch it back. Don't leave it that way. Yeah, just make sure you stitch it back, cut out your thread, and I'm going to open it up. So this is what stop stitch means. Open it up, push your seam allowance, as you can see from the of that neck, push it to the lining side, just as seen, and I'm going to be sewing it very close to the initial stitch, but not on the African print side, on the lining side. You see, you get. I'm going to be sewing it all the way. You can see what I'm sewing. So when you get to the pointy edge, the tip there is to place your needle. Don't lift your needle up, let your needle be up. Then lift up your footer and turn it, like swish it, and then you continue sewing. I said don't lift up your pin because the pin will just like, it should be like a holding to where you stop, you get. So the tip there, don't lift up your needle, leave your needle inside, but lift up your footer and adjust your material and continue your sewing. This makes it easy to achieve what you want to achieve, especially working with a sweetheart neckline, all this kind of point edge something. So I'm going to trim it up, and I'm going to be, and this is it. You can see how beautiful this looks. This prevents your lining from popping up. That's the essence of this top stitch. It prevents your lining from popping up at the neck region. So it's someone wear a clothes, and when you look at the person, you're seeing the lining, what the material they're using turning in the clothes, showing at the neck. This is what top stitch does. Then over to the hem, I'm going to be sewing this up by half of an inch. As I said earlier, I'm going to be sewing it together. The lining and the fabric is still the wrong side of the material. That's the front side, facing the front side of the lining, and we are sewing it. This is the wrong side. You can see my chalk, right? So I'm going to be sewing it by half of an inch. In this channel, we're all about transparency. We show you everything. Like we give you details of how to achieve a perfect dress, clothes, whatever. Especially if you're a beginner. And I hope I'm explaining it as detailed as I can. I know we don't have knowledge here. So make sure you join the community. You can subscribe, like, and share. Tell your fellow stories that there's a channel that's giving us all, and we drop new video constantly. So this is what we have. So I'm done hemming it, and I'm going to turn it over to the right side. Now this is the right side of the gown, as you can see. This is the right side. And you know, earlier when we cut out our material, we notched the 1.5 inches from the full length. So I'm going to use that notch now. But I'm going to weave in this, so that's why I'm not turning the sides like how you turn your gown. So I'm going to, see how I put it up using that one that notch that we placed by the sides. So just pinched on that notch, and I'm going to sew it down. So this is the pull I mean. So if you lift up your gown, you find out that the main material is a little bit at the lining, at the wrong side, before the lining continues. This is what it shows. So yeah, I'm going to pinch on that notch again. That's my notch, and I'm going to sew it down as well. Before we go over to our pressing table to press it down, we're going to press out the neck region that we sewed, and then we're going to press out this neck, this hem as well. So this is what we are trying to achieve. You can see the fit is very beautiful, like very, very beautiful. This is what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. So here I'm going to be sewing it to become one piece. Like I'm going to sew my lining, my material to become one piece since I'm going to be weaving it. But if not, if that weaving machine, we can turn it. The more way we turn our, I can see that that place, the V point is not lying very well. So that means I did not notch the inside very well. So I'm going to go back and notch it well to lie down, to lay flat very well. I don't notch that V point very well initially, so there's still something holding it down. So I went back and gave it a notch, and that is it. You can see that's the sense of notch. It's very, very important. You don't need to skip that. So I went back, I notched it, and you're going to see how the outcome. It makes a huge difference. And I'm going to be sewing it down to make it be a one piece. And we go over to the sewing of our back. So over to the back, we're going to turn our neckline with our lining right side facing each other. I'm going to sew it a half of an inch. After which we're going to be top stitching just like for the front part of the gown. And we're going to give it a notch as well to make it relax. So this is what we have. So I'm gonna head to do the same thing with two sides of the back. And then I'm going to be hemming it just as we did for the front. I'm going to put the back to be equal, and then we're going to be sewing it as half of an inch. After which we're going to bring it up using the notch that we placed there of the full length of our gown. That notch we placed before the 1.5 inches allowance. We're going to use that to pull it up. So over to the sewing. Remember, you're going to be turning to the right side to give it a pull. You don't pull it up at the wrong side, turn to the right side, and from using that notch, you're going to just pinch on that notch and then have your stitch. You can still turn the side to make it neater if you're not using a weaving machine. For mine, I'll be weaving mine after. So I'm going to be backing it down. I'll do the same thing on the other side as well as the other side of the back piece. So now we're going to be joining our front and back at the shoulder. We're going to be sewing together at the shoulder. But to sew it to avoid the rough edge showing on the shoulder, I'm going to be turning it up, give it a neat finishing. I'm going to be placing the right side of the front on the right side of the back as seen. We're going to match the shoulders to be equal, like match the tip
at that half inches, you know I'm going to be sewing it by. So make sure that equal, and I'm going to lift up my lining. This is the lining piece of the back, still holding it with my other hand to make sure that the tip is still equal. I'm going to pin it down. Just follow what I'm doing. So if I pin it down now, so I'm just trying to make sure that the tips are equal. Then I'm going to pin it down. Then I'm going to take the lining. This is down on the back piece, all the way to the back. This is to turn the rough edge. This will make the rough edge to the inside after sewing it, and you'll not be seeing the same allowance at the neck region. And then I'm going to sew it by half of an inch. So this is what we have after sewing it. I've sewn the two sides. You can see how it says. This is what we're trying to achieve by flipping the lining over to the other side before sewing it. You see how neat the shoulder is. And then we're going to go over to adding our zipper. We're going to sew in our zipper. I'm measuring the length I want my zipper to be. And then you measure to your fabric. You know the length of your zipper first. I have 23 inches zipper, so I'm going to make sure that my length stops at 21 inches. So I'm going to measure my gown. I'll measure up to 21 inches there and give it a marking. And then from that mark, I'm going to sew it all the way down. So over to our sleeve. This is my sleeve. I already cut out my sleeve, and I've marked out where I want the black to be. I've taped out the black. So what I have here is 2.5 inches. This is the crepe material I'm using to tape the down part of the sleeve. I have it in 2.5 inches. You know that we added for my gown. I have a notch at 1 inches, which is going to be just as the gown, the pulley fits there. So in the gown, we use 1.5 inches. We put this up by 1 inch. So for this, I'm using 1 inches. So if I sew lining and the main material at half of an inch, I'm pulling up the edge by 1 inch. So in essence, this black crepe that is 2.5 inches, after sewing it, I'm going to sort of sew it on the African print before tying it up with my lining. That means 1 inch is off, and at the end we're going to have 1.5 inches showing at the hem of our sleeve. Hope you get what I'm saying, right? So here I'm going to be sewing it as half of an inch. I already measure where I want my distance to be. So from the hem, I want it to be 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches plus the 1 inches that we have for hemming, for the hemming allowance, that is 2.5 inches. So I drew my line at 2.5 inches, and then on the other line I attached my crepe material, as you can see, which I sewed in by half of an inch, and I'm going to push it and sew it at the same time. So see how flat it is. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing for the other sleeve as well. So this is the lining. I'm going to take out half of an inch from the lining full length, and to this we're going to be tying it up on the sleeve. As you just see, I just put it up by half of an inch because that's what is remaining after sewing it half of an inch. But what we added is an extra 1 inch. So I put it by half of an inch, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. So after that, I'm going to be sewing the lining and the African print together to be a one piece. I'll trim out the excess. I'm going to be reviewing this later on. So over to attachment of the sleeve. So this is our gown that we sewed earlier. So we're going to be attaching our sleeve to it, right side facing each other. Also, I'm going to create a notch at the center cap of my sleeve. And with that notch, I'm going to be placing that notch directly on my shoulder area. That's the shoulder joint where I join the front and the back part of the gown together. It's going to be a guide to my sewing, and I'm going then I'll be using my pin to pin it down before sewing it at half of an inch that we added for the attachment of the sleeve. Hope you are getting what I'm saying. If you have any question, don't forget to drop it in the comment section. Ask me, I'll answer you. I try to make my videos as detailed as possible. I go over explaining and explaining, and I hope you get what I'm saying. So that is it. So we are done attaching this sleeve. Then I need to go over to attach the sleeve of the other hand. Remember here I've not weaved the gown. I'll still go to my weaving machine and weave it so that you give it a neat finish. It to be neat. You get take out all those free. I'm going to sew this as well as half of an inch. So now I'm going over to my weaving machine to weave all those rough edges. So here I'm done weaving. See the armhole. I use a black thread to weave it. I'll weave this side as well. So I've weaved everything. Everything is now smooth, neat. And we are going to be shaping our gown. No, we added 1.5 inches for the shaping. But first of all, let's tackle out. That's the zip. I've not finished the zip as well. We're finishing up the zip as well. To finish up the zipper, we're going to open it up and twist it just as shown. Twist it inward and cover it with your zipper allowance. And to this, you're going to be creating a notch. Just the normal way we notch, just notch it at that area. Keep everything nice and steady. So we'll repeat the same thing for the other side as well. And our zipper is ready. See the zipper? We just notched on those two sides, and it's beautiful. And then we're going to be shaping our gown. This is the last and final stage. So making sure that the armholes are equal, I'm going to pin it down at half of an inch. No, it's one at 1.5 inches that we use. Sorry, I mean to say. So I'm going to be marking my 1.5 inches, making sure that that armholes are equal, the joints are equal, and then we're going to pin it down. And to this, we're going to sew all the way from the sleeve to the hem of the gown. So be shaping the other side as well at top of an inch. You can create your marking first. Me, I was marking and sewing. So this is our gown already. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video in a jiffy. Share as well. Alright, this is the back. Do have a nice day. Bye.